Hello and welcome back to our ranged-only challenge in Bannerlord. We have a massive battle on our hands right here, and it is the Aserai attempting to defend their castle nearby from the wonderful forces of the Southern Empire. Now, I have my army back on its feet, so to speak. I don't have Newson with me. I did try to find him. He was in Askar the last I checked, and I did make my way over there. And he was apparently gone. So I have no idea where he is now. I didn't bother to check because I was actually preoccupied doing a bunch of tasks and generally just trying to get my people back up to scratch and also to get my horses as well, because believe it or not, you probably would believe it, they've stolen all of my horses pretty much. So I had to go and buy some more, which is obviously not very good. Also, these are Khuzait. I'm not a big fan of fighting the Khuzait at the best of times, but hopefully we will not have to fight too many of them. Hopefully there's just one or so defector in this army here. And yeah, so other than that, I haven't actually died or really participated in doing too much fighting. The only thing that I've really done is go in against a couple of bandits. I have mostly auto-resolved, so I personally have not really gone in myself. The only time that I have is when I was defeating a couple of poachers for that task, you know, because every single time I get a task, I'm going to do it. That's the main thing that you have to consider when getting your army back up to scratch. You pretty much have to take on, well, a lot of things. Basically anything you can get your hands on, it's a really good idea to just do it, because any single little bit of experience or money in many situations, or even experience just by completing the task itself, is going to be relatively good. Now bear in mind that obviously these guys are going to be quite difficult for us to get through here, because they are indeed forming this wonderful circular protective barrier that is going to make their archers very difficult to attack. But hopefully it's not going to make too much difference to me, because I'm going to be able to headshot them right over there, and me killing one of my own horses. That sounds like a good plan as well, doesn't it? Yes, absolutely fantastic. Anyway, most of my forces are unfortunately recruits and tribesmen and skirmishers. I don't really have anything more than that at the moment. That's the reason why I thought to myself, it would probably be a pretty good idea if I move into this particular fight and see if we can maybe do some damage in the meantime, because basically trying to eliminate the Southern Empire, trying to keep their vassals down as much as we possibly can, is going to make a very big difference to our future plans and our potential in the future when we try to fight them. And that's the point. We've got to always think about what is going to happen in the future. It doesn't really matter so much about what is going to happen now, because now is not really that big a deal. Like, if we do want to actually fight them and win, then obviously that's great. You know, fighting and winning is perfectly acceptable, and certainly something that I would indeed try to encourage as much as possible. However, the problem lies in letting the Southern Empire vassals be. Just letting them be, and, you know, just kind of steering clear of them as much as possible. So that's the reason why I'm kind of in here as it is, because I'd like to make sure that they are actually going to be defeated, and if I can benefit from their defeat, then that is obviously all the better. Unfortunately, the enemy is providing a very significant amount of resistance at the moment, and I'm not a big fan of that. Thank you very much. Hello there. Oh, yeah, I'm doing some damage, but nothing really too amazing at the moment, which is really kind of disappointing to me. I mean, I've used almost over 60 arrows so far, and yeah, haven't really done too much with them, because again, it's one of those things where the enemy was in a perfect formation, and it was very difficult for me to be able to hit anyone in that formation. So we're going to have some issues, but I hope that it's not going to be too bad. Oh, that was a nice hit right there, but nothing really to show for it in the experience department. So, problems everywhere, and, well, we're not really getting a break, are we? No, we're not really getting a break. Okay, so let's see me. Oh, there we go. Okay, that was, yeah, kind of okay, I guess. Yeah, we've got to be a little bit more. There we go. Oh, now that was a nice hit. And now Barney has actually advanced in level as well, so that's really, really good. Basically, those kinds of attacks are certainly something that we want to do. And in general, as I've said before, basically, anytime I've done any kind of auto-resolve, I haven't even really cared about if any units die. Because if they do die, then that's absolutely fine, because as long as we achieve victory, then the ones that live are going to be advancing in level. They're going to be becoming, you know, more powerful and, you know, than you can possibly imagine, and so on and so forth. Yes, good reference right there. Anyway, let's see if we can maybe get a couple of long-range hits on this massive amount of units. Unfortunately, I am just about out of archers. No, I'm out of arrows, actually. So this is going to be a little bit problematic, because now I'm going to have to find some arrows on the battlefield. I believe my archers are actually picking up some arrows from the ground, which is actually kind of amazing. I always found that that little feature that the developers have added into the Archer AI is super, super cool. Is that actually something right there? That seems like a bow, but no. Doesn't seem like it. I'm running around on enemy lines right here because I was hoping that maybe we've eliminated a couple of archers in the meantime, but it seems like no, that is indeed not the case. Anyway, we've lost about 31 units, but as you can see, most of them were just tribesmen, recruits, and indeed skirmishers. Obviously, losing skirmishers is never a good thing, because they are the ones that will level up into archers, and as I mentioned in the previous episode, skirmishers have now actually been changed in the latest version of Bannerlord into light archers. So they are no longer going to be using thrown weapons, and instead they're going to be using bows of some kind. And I can't wait, really, to be able to advance, or should we say update, my game version to that. That's going to be super, super fun to see. And yeah, this is the main problem with playing ranged only, because oh dear, yeah. Also potentially getting shot to death would be awful, but yes, this is the main problem with playing ranged only, especially when you can't ask any of your friends to give you arrows. There used to be a mod in Warband that allowed you to ask your archers nearby for some of their spare arrows, and that is actually a really cool feature, which I think is actually quite realistic as well, because let's face it, if your commander asks you for your arrows or your quiver, then you are obliged to give it, are you not? You know, that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about there. But anyway, there you go. We got 5.7 renown. Actually, not even that bad. And look at that. Sorgar of the Brotherhood. I don't know whether he's actually an enemy or a friend, but does it matter? Not really. Not really. Anyway, Honoratus, we are going to be taking him prisoner. Thank you very much. Basically, what I'm going to try to do now is, obviously, when I first started, I was basically just, you know, letting everyone go whenever I could, because I thought, oh, well, you know, maybe it would be a nice idea to foster some good relations with people and so on. But now I think about it, it's probably a better idea not to do that, and instead to try and keep them off the battlefield as much as possible, because obviously I've done that in the past and it has been very effective. And I'm thinking maybe it would be an idea to do that again, because obviously the last time that I did that, we had a significant advantage in every single battle, because most of the vassals that were potentially going to attack us were just not there, and that was the reason why we had a little bit of an advantage in almost every encounter. So hopefully that's going to happen. Anyway, I do have a lot of loot to sell. There's only 16,000 in... yes... Only 16,000 in the marketplace here, which is extremely, extremely low. And as you can see, boom, it's already going to go just by me doing that. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to buy a couple more horses. Going to buy all the desert horses from here. As you can see, this is currently what's going on with my speed bonus. This herd bonus, that's not a big deal. The deficit of negative 1.21, that is really not a big deal at all. I'll show you why in just a second. There we go, sell all of that. I think I can probably sell most of this too. Bear in mind that smithing is definitely something that you want to get going on as well. And I think I might actually do a little bit of it now, because I do have the energy for it. So let's just do a couple of... I can't... What? Oh yeah, I lost all my... Yes, that's another thing. I lost all of my hardwood, unfortunately, because I did have a significant amount. I think I had about 10. I mean, if you can call that a significant amount, to be honest. But yes, I had about 10 beforehand, And obviously now that I was defeated, we no longer have that, so that's really, really unfortunate. And now I'm already out of energy, so this is exactly the reason why I personally feel like the way that the smithing is done at the moment is very clunky and not very user-friendly or whatever. I mean, I suppose it's not meant to be honest, but still, I don't really want to be waiting around all the time at some town or another. I mean, yeah, sure, we're at 35% HP, and it would probably make sense for me to wait around a little bit, you know. It's definitely going to make sense in this case, but, you know, usually you don't really want to be waiting around if you're at full HP and your army's eating you out of house and home and all that stuff. Anyway, I think I'm actually going to be improving my smithing at this point, because what I would like to do is I'd like to aim for 150... Yes, I think 150 skill would be pretty good here. I might even try to go for 225 if I can. So I'm going to go for one focus point in smithing, because we already have a decent amount in writing skill, already have a decent amount in bow skill. There's not much more I can do about either of these, with the exception of leveling up the attribute associated with them. And that's obviously going to happen with time, especially in the endurance category right here. And we already have 63, or should we say 4 points of focus in leadership. So I'm thinking that that smithing is probably going to help us out quite a bit. Hopefully we're going to be able to craft something relatively soon, as long as I can just craft a bunch more of these. There we go. And now we might actually be able to forge something. So, actually, no, we can't do that yet, because we actually need to continue smelting some stuff. Okay, so now I'm out of energy once again, which, in my opinion, is extremely infuriating, because I literally clicked the button for, what, 2 seconds? And then I was already out of energy. And you can imagine how many items you're going to be looting from various bandits and other sources, and all of a sudden, boom, oh, I'm out of energy again, and so on, and so on, and so on. So yes, there definitely needs, in my opinion at least, I know some people don't agree with me, but I don't know. I personally feel like it would make a huge amount more sense to have the ability to, I mean, just look at my energy again. It's just literally all the way down again. It's just, it's one of those, isn't it? Yes, it's one of those. I mean, is there something that can actually make it a little bit more... no, not really. Yeah, I think the smithing tree actually has not been reworked, because as you can see, there's only one benefit from each of these skills, and usually in most of the trees there are 2 benefits. So I'm thinking that they are still probably going to be working on this. That's more than likely going to be the case, at least. No recruits to be had here either, and we have 13,000 in here again. So is there anything that I can do? Can I sell some stuff? I can sell some oil for a pretty decent profit right here, so I think I might actually do that, and then we'll just buy a little bit more food here and there. And we might sell some wine as well, because there's a bit of a shortage of that, and then just buy the rest of the beer, thinking that maybe a little bit of trade skill might help us out a little. But, yeah, there you go. Okay. Now, let's just wait a little bit. I'm going to see how long it actually takes us. So, it was spring 19 in the evening, and now we're going through the night, and then we're going to see in the morning exactly what's happening with my energy. I would assume that 12 hours is probably enough to get me to full energy. Almost. Almost enough. Okay, so that's actually decent, I suppose. But still, you know my thoughts on it. Okay, so... let's do, let me have a look. I'm thinking probably just these should be fine. And let's get another bit of charcoal, and then we should be able to... no, we still can't make anything, because I don't have any fine steel at the moment. Well, what about two-handed sword? There we go. Okay, that's a little bit better, but I am going to need a piece of steel to make that work. Really? Are you serious right now? That is just absolutely awful, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, I need a piece of steel. Okay. Yeah, I can't even smelt that either. Look at that. I can't even refine it. That is very, very frustrating indeed. And there's actually nothing in my inventory right now that provides me with that either. So I'm literally just going to move on, and we'll have to do a little bit of smithing later in the series. I'm hopeful that we'll be able to do it relatively soon, at least. And there's Oros's army. I'm a bit worried about this, actually. Where is the friendly army that was here just a moment ago? I'm not seeing it. So I can assume that they're probably... yes, they are probably attempting... No, wait. This is actually an enemy army. An enemy army is attempting to besiege that. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure why they decided to declare war, all things considered, because they are not really doing that well at the moment. So that's not particularly good, is it? Okay, so let's just continue to get some archers leveled up and all that stuff, just in case we do actually get into a battle here. They're going to attempt to take the castle once again, and hopefully our large army will appear relatively soon. So I'm just going to wait here for some time, and continue a little bit of smithing here and there, and hopefully the large army will appear and save the castle. Well, it looks as though Akar was a little bit too late. As you can see right here, his army has just arrived, and the castle has just now, like in the last 10 seconds, been taken. So that is obviously a little bit of a problem here. But Oros, as you can quite clearly tell, is on the back foot. He has literally expired huge amounts of his troops trying to take this castle, and obviously that's how things go, you know? That's just how it is. Oh, wait a minute, look at this. Our child Jatu has potentially leveled up. Well, he has aged up, shall we say. And yeah, that's actually going to be kind of interesting to see in just a second. He's gained a bunch of riding skill and bow and all that wonderful stuff. So we'll see how he's doing after this. Oh, that was a nice hit. Okay, yeah, so basically these kinds of fights, I'm going to just use these for a way to practice my long-range shooting and also to gain a huge amount of riding skill and a variety of other things. So basically any single time I can get a kill here, that is going to be fantastic. Obviously, unfortunately, because the enemy is very, very much outnumbered, we are now going to be faced with a situation where I can't really get too many kills without running into one of my own members of the army. So yeah, that's going to be a bit of a problem. But yeah, hopefully I'll be able to still do a decent job. Did I really? What? Shot someone in the leg? Are you serious? Oh no, Newson, where are you? You need to take my arrows for me, sir. I don't know why that happens. I really don't. I have no clue. It is literally beyond me, because I'm thinking to myself, I'm shooting at the enemy, and then all of a sudden a Nazarite tribesman, or Newson himself, decides to step in front of it, and they're like, no, don't kill that fellow. He is the chosen one. He will save us all from, well, whoever evil is right there, but yes, never mind. Okay, so otherwise, apart from the fact that we are now done with this, I mean, they're more than likely, I mean, they're all running, right? Aren't they? Their leader should be killed. I mean, I really need to eliminate that guy. Is that him? Not entirely sure, but that was a nice shot. Nope, that was just an Imperial Heavy Horseman. I'm still surprised I actually hit that guy. Well, there we go. That's it. Alright, not too bad. 2.2 renown for that, and obviously we're going to be getting a very small amount of loot. But we're getting a lot of prisoners. I actually should have... that is the one thing that I actually made a bit of an error about. I did not realize, once again, that I had a huge amount of prisoners in my army, so should have definitely sold these beforehand, but I suppose it's not that big a deal considering most of these are actually relatively low tier. So even taking these and then selling them is not really going to result in too much, especially considering I'm not really focusing on roguery skill at all, and I can't even give these to those guys for the what is it now, the manual laborers quest and so on and so forth. But there we go, Bannerlord has actually died. I believe Bannerlord is not even, he is not a part of the Aserai. He is indeed an Empire noble, as you can see right there. And there's wow, he's actually lost a huge amount of people so far from his clan. Whoa, did you hear that? Okay, now that actually gave me a bit of a fright right there. Did you hear that? That was actually a firework. Can you believe that? Yeah, that was actually a firework very, very close to where I was. I don't know whether you heard it. If you did, then props to you. And hopefully it didn't give you a fright like it gave me, but there you go. Alright, so Zakanis is actually the leader of this clan at the moment, so if we can just eliminate him, then that is going to be extremely good. Alright, so as you can see, Jatu has reached the age of 16 and now requires our guidance. So let's see what we can do here. Okay, so control is probably going to be the thing that we want to increase here. I think that that is more than likely going to be the way we do things. So let's go for some more control, because that's going to increase his archery. And bow gains 1 focus point. That makes no sense whatsoever. We don't need that anymore. So what about riding skill? Where's that? He has no riding skill whatsoever. Ah, there we go. Riding skill. There we are. That's much better. Okay. Yes, he increased his tactic skill. Okay, fantastic. His riding skill is absolutely awful. I feel like I have dropped the ball a little bit on getting him riding skill. I'm not entirely sure why his riding skill is so terrible, but there you go. Alright. Otherwise, apart from that, I think what we're going to do is just sell absolutely every single one of these prisoners, with the exception of Dishonoratus, of course. And there we go. It's going to give us 2,000 and a little bit of roguery skill here and there. Alright, so smithing. Okay, so I've done a little bit of extra smithing, as you can see. I do have a couple more resources here, but unfortunately I still will not be able to make any weapons, or I don't think I will be able to, at least. Let me actually just take a quick look. I don't think I'm going to be able to make a javelin, for example, because I don't have one of these shafts right here. I might be able to actually buy... Let me see if I can do that. If I can do that, then this is obviously going to be a little bit of a shortcut, I suppose you could say. Wow, this is actually a... Why is this bow so expensive? You can't use it on a mount. It has good damage. Yeah, sure. It definitely has good damage, but otherwise, apart from that, not much, you know? That's kind of weird. It's 68,000, almost 69,000. That's crazy. Okay, so simple javelins. I'm just going to spend 6k on these, and then we're going to see if I can maybe smelt those down. No. Okay, I don't think that's actually going to unlock things related to the javelin. See, now that's the point. Usually, if I have Bannerlord tweaks installed, it's going to give you something that's related to that particular weapon, but I don't think that the base game actually does that, illogically, so I'm not entirely sure why that is, but there you go. Alright, well, we won't be able to do anything with that just yet. I was hoping that maybe I could just use some wood to be able to make some javelins and a small amount of metal here or there, or something like that. That would actually make a lot of difference. But yeah, well, no problem. Okay, so I think what we're going to do is probably attack this guy. Let's just take a quick... Oh, he has 13 royal guards. He might actually be kind of difficult for us to deal with. So I'm not entirely sure. Let's try it. We've got someone with us right here. Guzid is with us as well. So let's try. Okay, Herd is slowing me down a little bit, but as you can see, my footman on horses bonus is actually quite significant so far, so I'm pretty happy with that. And let's do this. He has 84, we have 100 and... what is it? 71. Ah, okay, 171. That should be pretty good. I'm gonna tell everyone to auto-delegate at this point, because I found out in the very recent past that generally I tend to forget stuff, yeah, okay? So, obviously, it might be due to my old age, it might be due to some other kind of affliction that I am unaware of, but it might just be, you know, I'm not a very good commander when I'm playing a horse archer. Maybe that's it. I'm not entirely sure, but generally, I'm just going to let my people do their own thing for this battle and see how they do. If they do extremely badly, then I'll go back to, you know, commanding them myself. And in the past, I've done actually alright in terms of commanding them. But, yeah, it really very much depends on what kind of unit composition we're actually up against as well. You've got to bear that in mind. You know, the enemy composition makes a huge difference to how effective certain units are. And in my case, obviously, I'm using mostly archers. So if the enemy has a huge amount of cavalry or something like that, then of course they are going to have the overwhelming advantage in that aspect. So let's see if we can maybe do some damage to these guys. I'm hopeful that I'll be able to do some headshots. There we go. Nice headshot right there. I'm aiming towards the head, but obviously that makes it just that much more difficult to actually even hit people. Yes, it would help if I had... I really wish I had better bow skill, to be honest. More bow skill would be really, really nice right now. Alright, well, I think that's basically it. I really don't think I'm going to be getting any more... Oh, never mind. Alright, okay, yeah, I said I don't think I'm going to be getting any more kills, but apparently we are getting some more kills. Okay, that's pretty nice. Anyway, let's have a look and see what's actually going on here. Okay, so Guzid is obviously the one that is mostly losing huge amounts of units at the moment. It seems like the auto-delegation might have been improved since the last time I used it, because the last time that I used auto-delegate, it was absolutely abysmal. It was really, really bad. So it's actually quite nice that they seem to have worked on that and maybe made it a little bit more efficient, and maybe made it so the AI that takes control of your forces maybe makes slightly less idiotic decisions. No offense at all intended, because I myself make kind of questionable choices at some points, but the point is, generally, it's nice to see that the auto-delegate option is actually a viable selection at this point. Anyway, there you go. That is indeed a victory for us. There's only 5 enemies remaining, and I'm hopeful that we'll be able to take this guy prisoner, or I'm maybe hoping that he might even perish in this particular fight. Pretty much that's what I'm hoping for in most of these battles. Any single time we actually go into a fight against a vassal, I'm really very much hoping that they're going to die. And yeah, that might be a little bit morbid, you know? Might be a little bit morbid, or maybe a little bit harsh, but it's true. If I can try to eliminate the majority of the vassals in actual combat on the battlefield, then it's going to be so much easier later down the line in comparison to us having difficulties not being able to execute them, if you know what I mean. Because if you execute, you lose a huge amount of relation and honor and all kinds of things, and you really don't want that. And yeah, so that's the reason why generally if you fight them on the battlefield and they manage to die there, then you don't take on any of those negative effects, which I think is fantastic. So generally anytime that we can do something like that, then I'll definitely try and take the opportunity to do so. There seems to be another vassal over here attempting to run away. Are they faster than me? I think they are indeed faster, because they are significantly smaller in size. So we'll see if I can maybe catch up by leveling up a couple of my people into cavalry. We do have a couple of cavalry units in our army. As I've said before, I'm mostly going to be attempting to just try to level up as much of my units as possible and put them into the archer category. And then when I have a significant amount of archers, so I'm talking about 30... Oh! Woohoo. That was a little bit close there. Little bit close. Okay, thank you. But yes, once they have leveled up, you know, 30, 40 of them, then I'll start to shed the excess, you know, the excess units and put them into my garrison, and then I'll just run around with an archer-only army. That's basically how things are going to go. At least in my opinion, I think that seems like the best way to do things. I'm actually going to be voting for this guy with 60 influence, because it's going to go to me anyway, but I'm going to be getting charm skill by voting for someone else. You see what I mean? It's a little bit of strategic thinking right there, because if I actually vote for me, then nothing really very much happens, and I'd rather gain some charm skill and some relation with some of the other people. So that kind of makes sense. Anyway, Abelitos is attempting to take Lavinia Castle, and Mornid has actually died. Well, not died, but he was defeated, and his caravan, as a result, has been destroyed. So I might indeed need to get another caravan up and running for him. Amusingly enough, I actually feel like my caravans have survived for an extremely lengthy periods of time, and I don't even understand how that was even possible, to be fair, because the caravans in the past, whenever I've made them, they've always died within, I don't know, 2 in-game weeks. They really don't last that long, and the expenditure is 15k, you know, 15k up front. That's pretty significant outlay for very, very little return. But in this case, the return was actually quite significant, because he survived. He managed to run around for months, if that's actually the case. I might actually need to check out and see when I made him a caravan. I think that might be entered into his encyclopedia entry, so I might be able to check out and see exactly what's going on with that. Because if I can check it out, then that's definitely going to make a big difference to my future calculations about when I should actually create caravans and so on. because generally I don't really like to spend a huge amount of money on something if I don't think it's going to be worth it. I mean, obviously, I mean, that kind of makes sense, right? You know, definitely makes sense to do that. But in the case of the first caravan that we bought in this playthrough, that was more of a whim, pretty much. I didn't really think about it too much. I basically just did it and just hoped that it was actually going to do something good. And it seems like it has. So I'm very, very pleased about that. Alright, we're going to have to be a bit careful here. I'm going to do some long-range sniping, although do bear in mind that long range in this case is not very long at all, because my accuracy is pretty blasted terrible. So yeah, let's see if I can maybe just do some damage from behind here, maybe a little bit here and there. I'd love to level up my bow skill more, and I think I need to actually kill people to get more bow skill. Yeah, that seems to be the case, because obviously riding skill, that is easy to level up, mainly if you are moving, because obviously the game takes into account your momentum when you hit with the projectile rather than anything else. And with a bow, it is just a case of getting kills with it. That's pretty much all you can really do. So if I get a kill here, which I might be able to, that was a hit. There's the kill, and there you go. As you can see, 266 for bow. And if I was moving at the same time as that, and was relatively close to him, I would have gained about 270 riding or something along those lines. So that's generally how the calculation tends to be. That's the reason why I said in a previous episode that it's going to be extremely difficult for me to level up my athletic skill. Athletic skill is going to be very difficult for me to get leveled up, so I might just have to be extremely careful about any kind of mounted combat in general, because if my horse dies, I'm probably going to die myself. And have you realized, by the way, did you realize that I haven't actually died in this episode yet? Isn't that amazing? I think that's amazing. Anyway, let's sell these things for 4,300. And is there anything else that I can really sell here? We got some wool and some salt and so on and so forth, which I suppose I can sell. Yeah, I've been doing a bunch of poacher quests as well, so a lot of leather, as you can see right there. Going to be sold for 6,300. Pretty good. Oh, yeah, by the way, my loyalty... Oh. Well, my loyalty was actually good. And it was actually not too bad, but now all of a sudden it is causing some problems because there is a bound village issue. Which one is that? Okay, either one of those. Okay, so where are those? Hokka is all the way over there, and the other one is over there. Okay, so I assume that there's a task that needs doing. So I suppose I'll actually head over there and see exactly what's going on, because if I can improve my loyalty, then that is going to improve my construction, or try to improve my construction as much as possible. Okay, so there is something going on here. Oh, they need grain. Okay, this is absolutely super easy for me to do. There we go. I have a huge amount of grain, so here you go. And done. That's it. There we are. That was easy enough, wasn't it? Yes. I have a huge amount of it. And yeah, I saw in the text log just now that Newson won the tournament at Hubyar. So it's nice to know that he's actually present in Aserai territory, and hopefully I'll be able to go over there relatively soon and see what's going on. Onira has been besieged by Akar of the Aserai as well, so we might have an opportunity to go over there and help him out. Maybe. We'll see. And what else do we have going on here? Oh, they also need grain seeds. Okay, do I have enough? I might. Yes, I do. Wow. Okay, how much grain did I buy? I must have bought a huge amount. Okay, well, whatever the case, there you go. How much grain do I have? Let me actually just take a quick look. Yeah, I have 19 left. Wow, okay. Yeah, so I must have had easily over 150, 160 or so. Okay, so there you go. That is pretty good. Now we will hopefully go back into the Manage Town screen and see exactly what's happening. Hopefully we are going to see that our loyalty is now positive, because I looked at the very start of the episode and it was perfectly fine. Yep, there we go. Now, I know, it is still 0.06, but that's enough to prevent it from falling into a terrible, terrible territory. And hopefully it's going to be okay now. Okay, so is there anything else that I can actually do here? I'm trying to get workshop up and running so that my construction can continue to be relatively good. As you can see, it's going to take 38 days for this to be done. I might actually put in another one of these. There we go, another 10k right there. And then we're just going to wait a little bit, and I think that's probably going to be it for this episode, but everything seems to be a little bit status quo in this area at the moment, so we don't really have anything too much to worry about. Everyone else is doing okay as well, as you can quite clearly tell. The Southern Empire is, well, pretty much the same as it was when we started this particular series, and we have the same things going on in pretty much every area. Everyone is kind of holding on to all of their fiefs. So let's just take a quick look at the diplomacy here to see who is actually doing well. And we have the Southern Empire, they're at 2,600. The Northern Empire is doing quite well at 3,900. Western Empire is basically the strongest I've so far seen. Vlandia is fine, Britannia is not so fine, Khuzait not so fine. So Vlandia and Western Empire are going to be the main enemies potentially. Well, we'll see if that remains the case. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.